In 1998, Disney released probably one of the most beloved animated films of all time, Mulan. Mulan told the story of a young woman in ancient China who disguised herself as a man in her disabled father's place amid conscription in a time of war. That movie remains a film that I personally enjoy watching to this day, as it's heartwarming and fills you with a sense of pride and belief in yourself. This is not that movie. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Let's Talk, the series where I review movies from time to time. This is your friendly neighborhood Birdman, and today we're talking about Disney's Mulan from 2020. So this rendition of the story is a little bit more accurate to the original Ballad of Mulan, which this and 1998's Mulan are based on. Unlike the original film's Fa Mulan, this Mulan is named Hua Mulan, which was the name of the real Mulan. As the story goes, nomadic invaders attempt to overthrow the Chinese Empire, and in retaliation, the emperor enacts mandatory conscription where each family must provide one male to fight in the army. As Mulan's family only has 2 daughters, her elderly father decides to enlist, but due to his injured leg, Mulan decides to take his place under the guise of a man. I'd like to take some time to talk about this cast. It's insanely star-studded. I mean, you've got Donnie Yen, Jet Li, Jason Scott Lee, Tzi Ma, and even the greatest actress in China herself, Gong Li, is in this movie. Even Ming-Na Wen, the original voice actress from Mulan, makes an appearance in this film. And that being the case, most of the cast does a pretty good job here, with the exception of Gong Li. Now, she might be considered the greatest actress in China, but in this movie, she kind of phoned it in. I'm not sure if the script called for an overly stoic and wooden performance, but that's what we got from Gong Li, which is unfortunate considering she's the film's secondary antagonist.
I was a girl like you when people turned on me. No country, no village. We are the same.
And with the exception of Jason Scott Lee, all these actors are Chinese born, so the movie makes the curious decision to not have this film's dialogue in Chinese. For me, that was kind of jarring, considering how period-specific and accurate the movie appears on the surface. Perhaps Disney was afraid that people wouldn't watch a film with subtitles, but in 2020, I feel like most people are over that hump, or at least they should be, because we've got some powerhouse actors in this film, and I feel the performances would have benefited from speaking their mother tongue, Gong Li especially. There's just a level of emotion and realness when a person is speaking the language they're most comfortable with. I mean, imagine if Parasite or Ip Man were done in English. I'm sure they'd have been worse off. This movie has some seriously cringy lines that wouldn't be so cringy if they were done in Chinese. With that said, up until the middle of this movie, I was having a relatively good time. The colors are bright, bold, and beautiful, which is not the usual for Asian period pieces. Most of the issues I had at the beginning were with the horrible CGI. CGI is bad when it's obvious that it's CGI, and in this movie, you're going to notice the CGI. Some of the effects in this film are Bollywood action movie territory, like comically bad. On the flip side, the stunt work in this movie is pretty well done, and I like that the main actress actually appears athletic during the stunts, a far cry from Daisy Ridley in The Rise of Skywalker. Donnie Yen does some impressive martial arts during the training sequences as well, and these were my favorite parts of this film. But alas, this movie is not at all perfect. In addition to being somewhat uninterested in establishing any form of characterization, everything just feels flat and sanitized. For a PG-13 movie, everything feels safe and unrealistic. I think they showed blood a grand total of once, and we're talking about a full-on war here between a ruthless warlord and the Chinese Imperial Army. When I watch Asian period pieces, shit gets gritty and people lose their heads and limbs and all manner of gory goodness. But it feels like whenever Disney makes a movie, they try everything in their power to make sure real life isn't represented. And I know that sounds like a weird complaint in what is supposed to be a somewhat supernatural film, but if you watch this movie, you'll know exactly what I mean. The violence in this movie feels as if you're watching it on a stage play. And then there are things in this movie that just happen for no reason other than to just happen. While there is a supernatural element to this film, it's mostly grounded, but there's a random phoenix that apparently only Mulan can see, and it leads her to where she needs to go like a damn video game. This phoenix just shows up randomly and appears to be the replacement for Mushu from the original film, but without any of the charisma of Eddie Murphy. This damn bird is responsible for probably the cheesiest shit I've seen all year. And unlike the original film, Mulan's deception isn't revealed in an organic way, and instead, it happens in a forced and abrupt montage of her taking off her armor and wading into a battle. It felt like they were trying to do a superhero thing, and it just fell flat for me. And at the climax of the film, the movie just goes through the motions and has things happen just because. I mean, Mulan literally has zero reason to even interact with the main antagonist and just happens upon him because that's what the script needed. And in the end, I felt like this movie was unnecessary. In the beginning, they had me, but once the training montage was over, the movie just got boring and convenient. The supernatural elements aren't explored very well, and the secondary antagonist was just kinda there. I really liked the actors in this movie, and on the whole, they were fine, but the movie doesn't do much to justify the extra $30 on top of your Disney Plus subscription, which annoys me because if this movie did well, I felt that Disney might have also released Black Widow on Disney Plus. My advice is to wait until this movie becomes widely available on the platform in December. A C. As always, thanks for watching this episode of Let's Talk. I recommend to wait on this movie even if you really want to see it, because at $30 this movie does nothing compelling enough at that price point. But if you have seen this movie, what did you think about it? I'd love to hear other thoughts on this film and maybe some things I failed to mention. In any case, this has been your friendly neighborhood Birdman, and I'll see you later.